Well, if you've been with us for the past couple of Wednesdays, you've known that we have been doing a series talking about the top 10 things to do in each of the Disney World parks. We started with Disney Springs. Even though it isn't exactly a Disney park, there's so many things that you can see and do there. We talked about Magic Kingdom. Last week was Hollywood Studios, and this week I want to talk all about Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is one of Disney's most unique parks, in my opinion. It is a great park for nature lovers. There are a lot of wilderness and exotic theme attractions, shows, shops, so many things to see and do there. But of course, whenever you go, there are some 10 things here that I definitely want to recommend to you that you won't want to miss whenever you're visiting. So if you're watching here on the live, I want to say thank you so much for being here. And of course, if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much for being here as well. Let me know in the chat or the comments if you've ever been to Animal Kingdom, and definitely let me know if there are some must-do things that you should do or that you like to do whenever at Animal Kingdom, because I know it helps me whenever I go to the parks. Usually I'm able to find some new things to see and do when at the parks, but I know it's also helpful for viewers. If they've never been to the park, they should know some other things that they should check out whenever they are there. So we'll go ahead and hop right into the list here. The first thing that I want to recommend to you is to do at least one of the Avatar attractions. So when at Animal Kingdom, one of the most popular places and things at Animal Kingdom is definitely Pandora World of Avatar. That is one of the most popular places there, and both of the attractions there are the two rides that have the longest wait times whenever you're actually at Animal Kingdom. So those attractions are Flight of Passage and the Navi River Journey. So of the two, typically they have wait times over an hour long. It's not unusual to see wait times like that. Hey, Matthew and Lauren. And so I definitely recommend checking out at least one of these attractions. They are both great. If you can only choose between one of them, I definitely recommend the Flight of Passage ride. I absolutely love it. Doofs are saying Avatar, meh. Avatar, the Pandora world is, in my personal opinion, it's kind of like the equivalent of a Harry Potter world or like Star Wars land for some people. I personally love Pandora and the Avatar movie, so I'm probably biased in saying all of that. But yes, I absolutely love Flight of Passage. Hello, everyone that's hopping in here. I appreciate you guys being here. I know we have a different time here for the live stream, but thank you guys so much for joining in. But all that to say, yes, I highly recommend doing at least one of the Avatar attractions. In my opinion, it is great to do these at rope drop, which is the beginning of the day whenever you get to the parks, because that's the time that you don't usually encounter that long of wait times, because they can be quite long during the day and into the afternoon. So that's my opinion on things that you should definitely do when it comes to both of those rides. Definitely check out Flight of Passage, and the Navi River Journey is also a great attraction as well. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Avatar movie, so maybe I'm biased in saying that. So, but we'll go ahead and we'll get into the second thing, which are some must-do rides at Animal Kingdom. So Animal Kingdom is different in that it is a smaller park. It doesn't have a ton of attractions compared to some of the other Disney World parks. But when it comes to the rides that I recommend that you do, definitely you will want to check out the Expedition Everest ride and the Kilimanjaro Safari. So Expedition Everest is one of the more intense coasters that is at Disney World in general, but definitely at Animal Kingdom. And the Kilimanjaro Safari is a fun, about 20-minute long safari that takes you through, and you see a lot of animals while you are going around. Now, I was at Animal Kingdom last Thursday, and we are in the summer months here, and what I recommend to you when it comes to the safari is definitely check this out earlier in the day or later on in the evening for a couple of reasons. The safari tends to be during the middle of the day very hot, and sometimes you get stopped whenever going through because animals come across your way, or you have to wait for some of the other buses to go through. And so it can get very hot, and there isn't a lot of airflow going through the bus at times. And so I went around 3 o'clock, I believe, whenever I was on the safari, and it was very hot, very humid. So I recommend going early in the morning to escape the heat, but also the animals are more active in the morning as well. So you'll definitely see a lot more animals in the morning compared to the afternoon or evening when we went. We only saw the Ankole cattle, and the giraffes were hiding, and all of them were hiding like in the shade, which I totally get because it's so hot during the summertime. But definitely check that out whenever it comes to both of those rides. And yes, I'm seeing here, I should keep up with the chat. But Doofs are saying Everest is awesome. Of course, I absolutely love it. And single rider line is absolutely an amazing hack whenever it comes to doing that ride at Animal Kingdom. Usually the wait time isn't terrible for that ride. When I went during the middle of the day, it was a 35-minute wait, but the single rider line is definitely something that is great to check out. If you are okay or comfortable with breaking up from your group and wanting to save some time on attractions, definitely do the single rider line because you can get on and off that ride so quickly. You can do it multiple times in a row if you want to. So definitely recommend doing that if you are planning on riding that ride and okay with breaking up from your party. You are asking if I'm streaming out my ZVE tent. I am not. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the audio set up with that. So far we are still just rocking with the iPhone right now. So, but I can't wait to get that up and running. So that has been something I need to work on. So the third thing that I want to recommend to you guys here is to definitely walk around the base of the Tree of Life. So the Tree of Life is the icon of Animal Kingdom. That's one of the centerpieces of the park, and it's definitely something that is fun to get a picture with and go and explore in detail. The base or the trunk of the tree is all carved with a bunch of animal heads and bodies, which is really neat. I can't remember the actual count of how many animals are on the tree, but the neat thing is there is actually a Discovery Island Trails walk, I think is what it's called. But there is a trail that takes you and walks you around the base of the Tree of Life, which I actually didn't know about for the longest time until I saw somewhere online or somebody doing it. But there's a trail that you can walk down the base of the Tree of Life, and it's very neat. It's usually very secluded. Not a lot of people know about it, or maybe don't know that it's actually there. So it's a great way to go. You can check out some of the details of the tree. The trunk is so elaborate. There's so many animals that you can see. And then also it's a great place for pictures as well because you're up close and personal with the Tree of Life, but it's also, there's not a lot of people around, which is really fun. So definitely recommend doing that for sure. And yes, the walk behind the tree. I know there's another really good view, kind of back by Everest, I think it is, or whenever you're coming back from Everest, there's a good view of the tree, which is cool to see. But I definitely need to check it out in a little bit more detail when it comes to the walk around the Tree of Life. I haven't done it in a while, so there's probably some more trails that I haven't actually like figured out about or seen. So either way, definitely look on the map or just walk around, ask a cast member where the trail is actually at because it's really neat to check that out in detail. That's one of my favorite things to do whenever I'm at the park. Okay, the fourth thing, actually scratch that. The fourth thing here is actually one of my favorite character interactions that you can find at Animal Kingdom. And I recommend meeting and getting a picture with Kevin. So Kevin, the bird from Up, she is one of my favorite Disney characters. And there's actually a Kevin sort of it's not necessarily a meet and greet, but it's sort of an interaction. She is walking around the park numerous times throughout the day, and it's so fun because you can just be walking around and around the corner Kevin comes out of nowhere, and I just love that character interaction. I don't know if they have the times posted anywhere for when she goes and walks around the park, but I definitely like going and meeting her. She is so fun. So she just keeps walking around. There's no line that you need to wait in. So you can definitely snap a picture with her and see her super quickly. But there's also some other character interactions that we'll get to down here later on in the list where you can see other characters. But yeah, yes, you definitely just have to catch her randomly. Like you said, I don't think that there's times that she's necessarily out, but she has a little route that she walks around and you can definitely bump into her randomly throughout the day. So she is just somebody to definitely keep a lookout for whenever you're at Animal Kingdom and know that she is there because you may find her out of nowhere. So I just highly recommend like interacting with her, getting a picture with her because she's so fun. The fifth thing that I have, okay, we're still staying on the character topic here, is to see a character boat float by. So there is like this lagoon in the center of Animal Kingdom as well, where they have some shows that happen. And the neat thing is they have these pontoon boats of some characters that will float by throughout the day. So it's sort of Animal Kingdom's version of the cavalcades that happen at some of the other parks, which is really fun because you can see like Mickey and Minnie, you can see Donald and Daisy, I think. And then I just recently saw Pocahontas and Miko the little raccoon, were some other characters that I have seen. I think there's maybe some other ones that I'm definitely forgetting about, but these are really fun to see. Absolutely love seeing the characters from even a distance, but it's just neat to see them on the boat. And usually they're in more of a safari wilderness theme outfit compared to some of the other parks. So I highly recommend whenever you are at the parks to just keep an eye out for these little boats that float by. There's not any time that you need to kind of stand around to see them. It's neat because you can just happen upon them. And you can see some of your favorite characters, and there's a lot of points around the park where you can see them float by and kind of look at them. And on the map for the actual park, there is a little route that is like dotted out where the boat floats around. So that can give you a good idea to keep an eye out whenever you're walking around the park where the characters may float by at. Yeah, similar to the cavalcade for sure. And yeah, I've definitely seen a couple of them. So you haven't seen some of them, but they just float around randomly throughout the day, which is really neat to see. So it's nice that you don't have to, plan around a particular like big parade, but that they come around multiple times throughout the day, which is what I really like. So we'll go ahead and move on from characters, and we'll get into the sixth thing that I recommend you see. We're going to get into more of the shows here, but I recommend that you watch the Festival of the Lion King. So the thing about Animal Kingdom is it's one of the hottest Disney World parks. And the reason behind that is because of the dense vegetation that is at the park. It actually creates this rainforest effect, which really makes the park feel very, very humid. So I've read in some places it can feel about 10 degrees warmer than some of the other Disney parks. So if you ever go to Animal Kingdom and you wonder why does it feel so dang hot, that could be a reason into why it is. But all that to say, what I like to think about whenever it comes to these shows that are at Animal Kingdom is they are a great way to escape the sun, escape the heat. You guys know I love my AC breaks. And the Festival of the Lion King, besides it being a great show, it is also a great way to get out of the sun. But the thing about the shows is you do want to be mindful. These shows do happen multiple times throughout the day, but at certain times. And you'll want to make sure if you are wanting to check them out that you know what times they're happening, so that way you can get in line and you can actually see them. Because getting into the next show that I'm going to talk about, when I had gotten at the park, I wasn't aware of what the times were happening for the show, and I almost missed it. I was able to catch the last showing, but it would have been unfortunate if that was my only time to go to the park and I wouldn't have been able to see the shows otherwise because I missed all of the showing. So all that to say, if you are planning on doing shows, definitely make sure that you check out what times they're happening so that way you can see them. But the thing about the Festival of the Lion King, it is fun. There are live actors, there's animatronics, you can see some of your favorite Lion King characters, and it's a fun little musical kind of show that happens, and it tells kind of the story of the Lion King, which is really neat. So definitely recommend checking out that show. But also the seventh thing I recommend is one of the newer things that they have at Animal Kingdom that is the Finding Nemo Big Blue and Beyond show. So I just saw this for the first time last week. I did not see the old show that they had, but they just recently came out with a new version of the show, and I actually really enjoyed it. Told the story of the Finding Nemo story, and it also has live actors, and they perform, they sing, but they also have like these, I don't know how to describe it, but these puppet type characters. You'll definitely have to look and see a video of the show if you have not seen it yet. But they act out the story of the Finding Nemo story. So again, this is another really great way to escape the sun, but also it's a very fun show. Happens multiple times throughout the day, and I think it's very cute. It's very well done. The actors did an amazing job. All of the characters were very well made, and the design and the lighting and music of the show I really enjoyed. So definitely something that is worth checking out whenever you're at Animal Kingdom. So let's see. And yes, that's another thing. So the Lion King show was happening only kind of partially for a little bit there, since things were coming back to the park. I know, like you said, the tumbling monkeys are going to be they're either back or they're coming back soon. And then the two birds that do kind of a dancing number and like an aerial number, they're coming back either soon or they already are back. So yeah, that's another thing that you can look forward to, is the full show being back. It was great whenever they were doing it kind of I guess, half show or however you would say that. But I'm excited for the full thing to come back because the tumbling monkeys are my favorite part of that show. So whenever those are back, I'm really excited to definitely see them. And so, okay, this is what I'm curious about. So it seems like they only did slight changes from the original show. I'll definitely have to check out a video of the original show because, like I said, I've never seen it before. So I was curious if they did any changes or if that was what the original show looked like. But all that to say, the new show looks great. I highly recommend it, and I really enjoyed it whenever I went for sure. But that was the show that I had gotten there. I think I got to the park at 3, and the last show was at 3:30. So I had to like book it over to the show to get a seat and actually be able to see it, or else I would have missed it for the day. So those are little things about the shows that you can see at Animal Kingdom. But the 8th thing, well, I guess we're going to still talk about shows. The 8th thing that I recommend you do is to watch the Kite Tails sort of show that they have happen at the park. So this is another show that happens in the little lagoon type area that they have where the sort of cavalcade boats roll through. This is a fun show. They have these jet skis that behind them they pull these large kites of some of your favorite Disney characters' movies, and it's like this show that they put on numerous times throughout the day. So I really like this. They have the Lion King version and the Jungle Book version of the show. And the thing about this show that I do want to warn you is the show is in this little amphitheater pavilion type thing that you're able to look out and see kind of a full view or a front on view of the show. But this show is completely and entirely in sun. So if you are sitting and watching the show, I think it's about like a 20-minute show for each of them. And you can definitely get very dehydrated and get some heat exhaustion and like sunburn if you're in direct sunlight here watching this show. I definitely recommend watching it. But there are some other places around the lagoon that are great to see it that are more shaded. And they also offer kind of a different viewpoint of it. So I guess that's just something to keep in mind whenever you are watching the show. It is in direct sunlight, so definitely be aware of that. Have some water on hand. But all that to say, it's a great show to watch. Happens numerous times throughout the day, like I keep saying about some of these other offerings. So I think on the My Disney Experience app, you can look and see the times that it's happening if you wanted to watch it like front on. But you can also catch it kind of numerous points around the park as well. If you don't necessarily want to sit there and watch it as a full show, you can catch it as you're walking from ride to ride or just around the park in general. So that is what I recommend as far as the Kite Tails show. There are 2 different shows. There's the Jungle Book, like I said, and then there is the Lion King version. So those are some fun shows that you can watch whenever you are at Animal Kingdom. And the 9th thing, we're going to get back to Pandora here, that I recommend is go and visit Pandora at night. So Pandora at night is a completely different experience than it is in the middle of the day or in the daylight, if you will. So I love Pandora in general. I think it's a very well done area of the park. I think it's very well themed, decorated, very immersive. You definitely feel like you are there. I love the floating mountains and everything, but I definitely love it at night more because at night feels like the Pandora comes to life in a different way. So there are a bunch of bioluminescence type things that you can see around the park. It starts to glow. You can see the walkways start to glow with some of the bioluminescence. Some of the plants glow. There are different sounds that you can hear at night. So it's definitely a really neat experience. Even if you aren't going to ride the rides over there in the evening, I definitely recommend just going and walking around and checking that out. That's one of my favorite things to do in the evening at Animal Kingdom. I love being there. I love the atmosphere that it is at night. So definitely something that you'll want to check out if you're there in the evening at Animal Kingdom, and you won't want to miss that because I absolutely love being there in the evening. Yeah, so Pandora at night is definitely better. I highly recommend. I just think it is so neat. It's been a while since I've been able to be there at night, but it's definitely one of my favorite times to be there because I just love how immersive it feels and it is, and it just definitely comes to life in a very different way compared to the morning. So definitely something that I recommend. And then the 10th thing that I'll recommend to you here is to see some of the nighttime projections on the Tree of Life. So as we talked about, the Tree of Life, it's in the center of the park, the icon of Animal Kingdom. And at night, they have some sort of shows that they put on the Tree of Life. Now, I don't know that Animal Kingdom ever had a fireworks show, but what they do have is they have the Beacons of Magic on the Tree of Life, which is sort of the 50th anniversary overlay that the tree gets. And that happens in the evening. And then I also researched this, and I didn't actually know about it because I've never personally seen it, but they have the Tree of Life Awakening show. So I haven't seen this, but it's a projection show that happens on the tree. I think I read that it happens every 10 minutes until the park closes. So somebody will have to let me know if they have seen it before, but I love any of the nighttime shows that happen at the Disney parks, especially if it involves projections. I think they do a very good job at that. And let's see here. That nighttime show is so cool. Okay. Well, I personally never seen it, so I'll definitely have to check it out. But yeah, I always recommend the nighttime shows at the parks. They do such a good job with them. And so I definitely need to go and check it out. Okay. So I'll definitely have to check it out. And yeah, and if you're wondering what time it is, definitely look at the My Disney Experience app or ask a cast member whenever you're at the park, so that way you don't miss it. So those are some of the 10 things I recommend doing and seeing whenever you're at Animal Kingdom. I love Animal Kingdom. It's one of the more unique parks that are at Disney World, and I think there are a lot of great offerings and attractions that are there, and it's definitely different compared to some of the other parks that are at Disney World in general. So hope you guys enjoyed this list of things to do at Animal Kingdom. Thank you so much if you're watching here on the live and the replay, of course, and we will see you guys in the next video. So see you guys.